Guys, this is going to be a quick guide on how you are going to do your research projects. So, I wanted to do this video so that you all could have something to reference on my courses that shows you step by step how to do what you need to do. So, this is the library website. Alright, so quick refresher on how to use this. If you go to databases, this is where you guys can find many of your sources. Okay. A couple of popular ones that I suggest that people use are eric.gov, Eric EBSCO. Eric.gov is usually a lot more helpful. And Science Direct. These usually give the most useful and relevant sources for your project. All right, but once you've found your sources, the next step is to make sure you finish your annotated bibliography. So up here, for those of you who are trying not to spend as much money on the books, you can go to Purdue OWL. The link is right here. And they have an entire MLA page that shows you how to cite. So you can literally go to your search bar and type in Purdue OWL MLA. And the first thing it's going to take you to is the style and formatting guide. If you scroll down on this left hand side here, you will see how to cite different sources. It has books on here, periodicals, electronic, and other. So if you go to electronic sources and scroll down, it shows you how to cite a website step by step. You would just put in the correct information based on what site you're using, department websites, a page on a website, WebMD, which I would prefer that you all not use, an image, an article in a web magazine, so Berenstein Mark, the name of the article, the name of the web magazine, the day it was published, and the link, and the day you accessed it. But for most of you, you're going to want to look at the online scholarly journal. All right. So remember, last name, first name, name of the article, and something I've noticed some of you are still not doing, but some of you are doing, is remember the first letter in anything but N and the should be capitalized. Period inside the quotation marks. Name of the journal in italics, as you see here, Social Work and Society, the International Online Journal, volume number with volume lowercase, period 6, number, not issue, number, also lowercase 2, the year, and the link. All right. If there are page numbers, you'll put the page numbers after the year. Notice there are commas here. You do not put a period until after you put in the link, then this period, and the date you accessed it. Okay. If any of you are citing a tweet or a blog or doing an interview, you can go over to other common sources, and first thing you see, interview. Name of the person you are interviewing, personal interview, the date you interviewed them. Podcast, right here. Online only published interviews, speeches, published recordings, again, picture, photograph, song or an album, film or movies, television shows, entire television series, podcasts, digital files, and I do believe under electronic sources is where you will find how to cite a blog post, a tweet, and a YouTube video. It would be the same for a TED Talk. And that one is found under electronic sources. Alright, so this is just a useful tool that you can use. I will link it to our Canvas page. Yes, I know you're using cookies. But once you have all this, you're going to need to have your Excited page. So as you see here, I have my annotated bibliography, but there are a couple of things wrong here. And I'm going to show you how to fix them. So first, your first line of my essay should not be the title. So I'm going to press enter and bring this back over here. And this is where my name goes. Not in my header, but as the first line. So I'm going to say my name is Jane Doe. And the class is, no, I'm going to be Jane D. Antoinette Hayden. My teacher's name, EN1113. And whatever section you happen to be in, I'm going to say 88. Let's go with 89. And the date. We're going to say the date that is due is the 1st, March 2019. Now, the header is different. This is the very first line of the essay. Now, when you're inserting your header, you'll notice that you go up here to put in your page number. D. These are two separate places, right? I'm pointing at the screen, but you can't see that. Do up here, this goes under that header line. So do not put this up here. I repeat, do not put this up here. Two separate things. This will be on every page, and you do not want that. All right. So, second problem I have here is my spacing. So, Control A, or however you decide to select all. I'm going to go over here, put this in Times New Roman, 12-point font. You can change that to 12, or you can press the little up button here. And then you need to make it double spaced. I'm just going to do Control 2. But now I have extra spaces between my paragraphs. And this is how you get rid of those extra spaces. Go up to this little paragraph settings. You see this little arrow in the corner? Don't click extra spaces between paragraphs. You can also make your paper double spaced here. This is the double, right? And then you push OK, and you'll be good. Now, I press enter. I need to remove those. There shouldn't be any extra spaces between any of the things. Do not press enter to create extra space because you do not like the way it looks. Remove that. Okay? So, now what you want to do is select it all again. And now I'm going to show you how to do a hanging indent. So, from your sources on down, you can do this, and you take these arrows that you see up here at the top, right up here, and the bottom one can move over on its own. If you swing that over half a space, you have your hanging indent. You might have to do it for each of your annotations individually. I haven't figured out a quicker way to do this because you want the first part of your annotation to also be pushed over. So for each annotation, the way I'll know that you're starting a new one is that your hanging indent will end and a new citation will begin. So you'll see here, this is my summary, right? This is my citation. This citation has an extra space. I'm going to remove that. And it is correctly formatted. This is what your citation should look like. And I'm going to make sure all of this is in black ink because I did type some of this in Google Docs. So I'm going to make sure all of my paper is the same. All right? So for your actual citation, what you want to do is summarize the source. There isn't any argument that you need to make. You just want to say what happens in the source. So for my first one, I put, Zulu's article discusses how students from historically disadvantaged backgrounds, does this. The study reported blank. She focused on this. None of this is my opinion. Doesn't matter what I think of it. I'm just telling you what this source is about. So as your teacher, I should be able to look at your annotation and understand, okay, this is what this is about, so that I can understand how it relates to your overall, essay. So my essay is about how all university classes should incorporate writing assignments. So I'd note from my annotation that this particular source is about, how different types of students use research to improve, you see that here, how research had a positive effect on their basic researching, reading, writing, and critical thinking skills, right? And that goes directly to my thesis statement. So this source talks about this specifically. My second source is an article talking about how critical thinking is very important in America and how English classrooms teach English, right? So this particular annotation is a bit short, if you notice. It's only 3 sentences long. So the article discusses how researchers in America and the Western world, have this concern. The study shows that English classroom activities are designed for this. As a result, the study finds that students suffer from emotional literacy. I would need at least 2 sentences to elaborate on that to make it clear what this is about. Similar to your exploratory essays, except you're not trying to synthesize this and you don't need any direct quotes. This is completely in your words. This is what the source is about. It should be 4 to 6 sentences maximum for each source. You don't have to write a lot. You're literally just summarizing these sources. So another thing I want to point out is my sources are not in alphabetical order. So what you're going to want to make sure you do, Tang comes before Zulu because T comes before Z. Go up. So make sure when you're finished, I wouldn't care if you did this before or did it after, but make sure all of your sources are in alphabetical order. Alphabetical order. Repeat that to yourself. That is important. Okay? And that is the end of this tutorial.